Okay, so we're back again. I'm going to thread my needle. And since I'm using something with a big enough eye on it, it's really easy. Remember, I'm going to leave my short tail and my long tail. And I'm going to tie a knot on my long tail. So I'm going to do that by wrapping around my finger tightly, twisting it off, getting my middle finger in there and knotting it, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the blanket stitch you're going to be using. The easier one, which goes down edges, so you could actually do the edge of your felt over there. And then I'm going to show you blanket stitch for when you go to do the body here, all right? So I'm going to start off by coming up through my fabric. And then I'm going to pick a spot a little ways away, so it's almost like a box that you're trying to form here, okay? And then I'm going to wrap my thread around my needle. Pick the same direction every time. Now you see how I've got that little kind of a diagonal one over here? When you come around, all the way around the edge here, you come up underneath that one when you're finally finishing off going around the entire edge there, and you pull that one down as the last stitch. You just put the needle through, then go to the back and end it off, and that will square it out, okay? But you're always going to start off looking like that, okay? So then I go over to here and I make another little box. I wrap my thread the same direction, pull it through. And I tend to work, when I'm doing my blanket stitch, I tend to work going upwards. I don't know why, it's more comfortable for me, but you might want to pick a direction that you want to hold the fabric, okay? So again, I'm wrapping this around. I'm doing the same direction every time. If you change direction, it's going to show on your edge here, okay? So you should have nice, neat little boxes going up the side there. When you come to a corner, because you're going to have corners on your thing here. Again, I'll wrap the thread. And I'm making little boxes, okay? Oh, get out of there. I don't want you there. Okay, so I'm going to go into the corner here, and I'm going to do one stitch there, wrap my thread. Now, my next stitch, I'm going to come up through where I had it last. Over here, wrap my thread the same direction, and I'm going to pull this out. Don't pull it up, otherwise it winds up doing weird things. You want to pull it out to make sure that that stitching is along the edge there. So then I'm just going to put a little stitch in the corner here on the very, very edge there to make sure that that stays put there. And then I'm going to continue on for doing my blanket stitch around the corner. Okay. Okay, so when you go to end off a blanket stitch, so I'm making little boxes, like little, you can put things in them, okay? So when I finish off, okay, and I got my tail in there, I want to release that, okay? So I can slide the thread up. So I can go to the back and I can do the lock stitch by pulling the thread through a bit of the fiber, finding that loop, pulling it through. And then what I do is I put my knot on my thread right underneath there when I went to start off the new thread. Okay, so I'm going to lock that down very tightly. If I've got a loose thread there, I can catch that in and tighten that up. There is some rescue work that you can do on the back, which will actually fix things, okay? And I'm checking the front to make sure I'm not seeing. Now, your lock stitch can be done exactly the same way as a back stitch, but it can backfire if your thread tangles, okay? So now I'm going to knot the thread again. I'm going to show you how to do the blanket stitch for actually sewing on your body for your project, okay? So there's the blanket stitch there, okay? I've got that locked onto the corner there. I should have another one in there actually, because this is right on the corner. I forgot to do that, so you can see a little missing spot there, right? Okay, so that's a mistake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up through the back after I tied my knot. Yep, I've got my knot on here. I'm going to come up through the edge here. And I'm going to go a little ways away, in through the fabric, right at the edge here. So you see where I'm going in? There's my thread, there's my needle, there's the edge of the fabric there. I'm going to come up and make that box within the fabric. Okay, I'm wrapping it, I'm picking the same direction every time, consistency. And I'm going to go around the edge here. Okay, so I'm poking it down right beside the fabric, and I'm coming up and making little boxes. So this is going to be interesting on the edge here. So I'm going to go down at the corner. I'm going to come up through the same hole that I was at. Okay, you see this over here? I'm going to wrap my thread over here. Okay, now to keep it sitting at the corner, I'm going to go down through the back, and I'm going to come up inside the stitching here, because I want to make it stay put there. Then I'm going to do what I didn't do on the other corner, is I'm going to go back down beside the fabric, come up through the same hole, wrap this, and I should see something that looks like this. You might have to move some of your stitching over with your needle to get it to sit nicely. There you go. All right, and so I'm going to do that very quickly to go around the edge here. Wrap that. And so you want to keep even, consistent stitches. And I'm going to show you what to do when you get all the way around to fix that little diagonal stitch that you started off with. Because that one always used to bug me, and I didn't like it. So, all right. And I can see people rolling around on caster chairs out of the corner of my eye. Okay, see my tail's in here right now? I don't want that. So I got to make sure that my tail's not in there. Okay, so I'm going to release him and slide the needle up the thread. So I've got a long piece of thread to work with, okay? So I'm going to quickly go around here all the way around, wrapping my thread. In, out, wrap, in, out, wrap, in, out, wrap, pull, okay? So now I'm going to go to the corner. I come up to that same hole, wrap my thread. I want my thread to stay put at that corner and not swivel around. Come up inside that last stitching there. Okay, good. And you know what? I'm just going to go to here. No, yeah, I'm going to go to here and do that one. I got a really irregular shaped piece here, okay? And then I'm going to go down and lock that in place. So for the blanket stitch, I will, oh, come on, don't do that to me, all right. I will lock certain stitches in place to make sure that they don't move on there, okay? So now I'm going to go around and I'm going to start continuing on what I was doing before. I'm coming down beside the fabric. I'm coming up. I want to make little boxes. If you've got a curve that you're sewing around, like you've got a round object, you want to make little vases. Okay, if you've got a concave object you're sewing, then you want to make little baskets that are wide open at the top, right? Like you want to make dishes. So I'm going to go to the corner here. I'm going to come up, actually, let's see, I'm going to go to the corner here. I'm going to come up, wrap. I'm going to lock that stitch in place at that corner there. This is a really irregular shaped piece of fabric I'm stitching on here, so it actually works really, really well as demonstrating. Now, you see this little thing here? I'm just going to go into this stitch here right under there. I'm going to pull it down to the edge, go down to the back, and from the top, you shouldn't be able to notice where I actually started. So now I'm going to do my lock stitch. So taking a small bite of fabric at the back. I shouldn't be able to see anything on the front. Okay, and third time lucky. There we go. And you should not be able to see where I have actually... Oh, yay, we got the hand blower from the washroom registering on the video now. Okay, so you shouldn't be able to see where on the front you started from the back, right? Okay, so can you all see that? A little neat and tidy, okay? So at the back it will look like this. Okay, I'll be looking at the front and I'll be looking for consistency around these little edges here. So pick a way to wrap it every time, doing the same way. Work is rhythm, all right? I'm going to end up the video recording.